Here today with fellow Toastmaster Adebiyi. I'm Bruce Four, and in particular, I'm doing a series of interviews with several experienced Toastmasters, and we have questions regarding the Pathways program as well as the traditional program. And this is the beginning of our first podcast. So that's yourself.
So, I'm Abby, as you have said, but my full name is Adebiyi. Adebiyi.
Dafrede. Oh my goodness. Say that again.
It's a mouthful.
Say it one time.
Adebiyi Dafrede. So Adebiyi Dafrede is, my maiden name and my married name together.
Wow, that's beautiful. So melodic.
It is,
my
right?
Goodness, I gotta tell you, it's not like Bruce Four.
I love your name. That's the way. But I like it. No, Mr. Four.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Abby. So you've been a member of this particular club. Tell us more about you and this club.
So I've been a member of Toastmasters for almost 2 years. So it's about 22 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a member of Washington Park Toastmasters. I've never been a member of any other club. So yeah, it's been great. It's a corporate club, and so it's very, you know that it's going to happen, and every day they say it's going to happen. I love that about the club. Mm-hmm. It has a few members, though it's not like a community club. We can talk about that on some other day, but
sure.
I've always, as someone who it's part of my duties to bring more people to the club, I've always felt like, the corporate club thing, because of the time it meets, mm-hmm. it kind of hinders that, but mm-hmm. that's for another day.
Okay, that's fine. And so you've been a Toastmaster. Tell me, what's your educational designations?
So I am...
Where are you in Toastmasters in terms of your communications and your leadership at this point?
So I'm in my advanced communications bronze. I'm almost done. I think I have 2 projects left mm-hmm. to get to the end of that and move on to silver.
Okay. So you've actually completed the CC, and now you're on the advanced communication bronze.
Yes.
And you have how many projects left?
2.
2.
I have 2 left.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. So are you familiar with Pathways? Have you heard anything about the Pathways program?
Yes, I'm familiar with Pathways from a distance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so by from a distance, I don't mean like no one has come. Like, you have been brilliant about, exposing the clubs in this area to Pathways. You're constantly telling us about Pathways, showing us everything that we need to do. But I haven't signed up to Pathways, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does it kind of seem scary, or what is it about Pathways that gives you this hesitancy that you're holding off?
So I'll be honest, like I told you, I said I'm going to be completely honest. So I think the thing with Pathways is it took me so long to get here, like my ACB.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There were times at work I would have to call out or miss certain things just because I wanted to be at meetings, and it took so much to just get here with my ACB, and then just finding out that was kind of being eroded. Everything was going just so Pathways could take its place. I love the fact that Toastmasters is looking at ways for us to continuously meet mm-hmm. the rest of the world and mm-hmm. even surpass, but it kind of made me feel like everything I had done was going to be redundant. So was I supposed to drop it all and just start all over?
Yes.
And that's number one. Another thing is I try to log on once just to see the basics, and if so there's an icebreaker, and then there's an evaluation, and then you have to do it all over again. It just seemed a bit complex. So yes, you're right. Maybe I am a bit scared of the unknown. I should be ashamed. I should be. Mm-hmm. But now I'm thinking, should I maybe when I finish my ACB, and then I'll keep going. At the same time, as an officer, I have many people ask me about Pathways. I feel bad that I don't know enough mm-hmm. to put them through.
Right.
So I think I'm at the cusp of just signing on. But just the thought of my ACB going, like, what's happening to my ACB? That makes me feel bad.
Well, the most important thing to keep in mind, all of your current designations, and even if you're still currently enrolled in some of the communication series and the leadership series, we have roughly up until June 2020 in which to complete the traditional track that we're on. So that gives you some breathing space, number one. And all of the designations are still relevant. So even though there will be these new designations and pathways, the old designations such as the Advanced Communication Bronze, Silver, Gold, and so forth, they're still equally legitimate and valid. And I think one of the things we got to keep in mind is that while those designations will be different and the new Pathways program will offer literally 10 different designations, so to speak, in terms of the badges that are offered upon completion of each of the paths, there's still this ultimate designation that doesn't stay the same, that doesn't change, which is the DTM. That will stay the same. But they'll still be the same weight because the core, at its core, I think, as I see this, as a Pathways Guide, is that the intent of the program is to continually focus on how do we allow you to become a better speaker, a better presenter, a better leader, a better communicator. And the new program doesn't take away from the traditional program. So even though the designation and the interfaces is going to be somewhat different, the intent will be the same. You'll still be a better speaker as you work through the projects. You'll still take on club roles as leaders. That's where you're developing the leadership. The club experience will remain the same. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. And that's one of the things I think you want to share with those individuals who are in the traditional program, who are sitting on the fence, or who are not sure which way to go. So tell me again, let's step back just to make sure you understand.
Okay.
You had mentioned that when you tried to first get on to Pathways, you did take the assessment test?
I did not take the assessment test.
So you did not take the assessment test.
So
What happened?
I'm not. I think I just got cold feet, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I just got cold feet. I'm not. I'm savvy, like computer-wise,
Right.
but it was just like, a new thing. And if it was possible for what you already have to sort of translate into Pathways, I might have felt more comfortable. But I know that's all just jitters about a new thing, because the old ways lead us down certain paths, and this way almost broadens those paths.
Sure. Yeah.
As you said, the major thing to focus on is, are you a better leader? Are you a better communicator? And go with that.
Yes. Abby, well, thank you very much for the time you shared with us. I want to encourage you again to go on to Pathways. You can take the assessment test and you don't have to enroll into any of the courses. That's another thing to keep in mind. Just go through the process to see if it's comfortable. In fact, I'd like to come back and ask a couple of other questions later on once you've had a chance to do that. You don't have to sign up to anything, but see how there's roughly about 24 to 25 questions in the assessment process, and they generally will help identify at least 3 of the paths that work best based upon your responses. But in spite of that, you still don't have to select any of those 3. You can still look at the other 7 and say, based on the description, I'd like to be in this particular path. So
you don't have to go with the path it chooses for you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
There's an option there, like anything else. If you click right away, then you're in that path. But if you pay attention, you'll see that you can drill down a little bit further and you'll see the 7 other remaining paths. And you can look at each of those paths, read the description to see if that fits your current needs, and then select that. So you have that flexibility. And let's say you selected the wrong path and it put you into that path itself, you still have 30 days to change your path.
Oh.
You've done it online.
You have 30 days to
You
change
have
your
30
path?
days to change that path.
Okay.
And I know there was a lot of information we put out during the initial Pathways presentation, and a lot of that information just wasn't processed because it's overwhelming. This is a huge system, a huge program that's being put into the clubs, and we're trying to find the best solutions. And that's part of this project that you and I are currently working with as well, is what are going to be the best practices for getting our members to not only enroll in Pathways, but to move through it in a very successful way. Like any new system, we're all learning, and I'm learning a lot as well. And as long as I have good fellow members of the club like you, I think we're going to do well. But it's a matter of sharing what we've learned and moving forward with the game plan. Your game plan, as I see, is number one, you want to complete this last educational track, get that out of the way, and as I say, you have roughly about 15 months in which to do that. And at the rate that you're going, you'll get through with your next designation. And then at that point, you can shift. You can shift into the Pathways program.
Yeah.
And as I'll be a resource for you. That's not, God willing, that's not going to go away. And you can ask any kind of questions. And this is not going to be in the video, but part of what I'm already enrolled in 2 paths, actually 3. And I'm doing 2 of the paths plus a third one because the third one is manual. This one, here again, everything, I call this a toolkit. And this is...
Is this it printed out?
This is it. So for example...
I'd like to have this.
You know what? You'll be on my team. We'll talk about it. So this is one of the modules in level 1, in level 2. This is actually the project that Oren presented today.
Oh.
And he was, one of the things about this, and this is all online. So a lot of people, instead of printing it out, will do it all online. I don't work that way. So I happen to, as I've moved through the levels, I've been printing out everything for each of those levels, so I can talk to any of the clubs and say, this is what you need to be doing. But there's a series of questions. So there's pre-testing, assessing your current skill sets, and then learning about what the competencies are about leadership, how leadership is defined. And some of this is old school theory, but it's been included into the Pathways program because their game plan now is that, look, we're all starting at the same level. So we might as well all have the same ground rules. What does Toastmaster expect a leader to be? How do we define leadership? What's the difference between an authoritative leader versus a participative leader? What are the conditions for situational leadership? They try to put all of that into this one module. So this particular module, which is Understand Your Leadership Style, there's another module which is called Understand Your Communication Style. So at the conclusion of doing this project, you have to do a 5 to 7 minute presentation like you saw Oren do today. And the challenge with that is because he's the first one in this club to do it, it's very hard to evaluate him because there's no one who's done it. Like if I had to evaluate him, I would have been able to evaluate him in a different way because I've already completed this project. Then there's Understand Your Communication Style. Same thing, there's a series of questions that you have to answer as well as theory, and you also have to do a 5 minute presentation. The thing about this as well is that when you're online, you'll find as you work through the module, there are online videos that you click on that they have presentations going on about the module. So that kind of helps you get an understanding.
Once you're signed up.
Once you're signed up,
So,
you have access to that.
Because I was going to say, to be honest, like just to give like feedback, because I see what you're doing, and to be honest, it's her ones to be a part of it and be comfortable.
Yeah.
How do you get younger people who have cold feet, and how, like, I know that part of the reason why this came up was because you wanted to merge the leadership and the communication paths together, which is brilliant. But
Yeah, right.
it's not going to happen if people don't even sign on in the first place.
Right.
So this is not on. I know that there are a few technical challenges going on, but I'm not even going to put this on Toastmasters. This is all of us. Like, we just need to get over ourselves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Abby, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure.